Hi, I'm Tom Richardson for Boating Local, and I'm here at the Bourne Marina in Bourne, Massachusetts with Captain Terry Nugent of Riptide Charters. Now, those of you who know Terry know that he trailers his 33-foot Contender center console all over southeastern New England and beyond, and he often has to do it solo. It seems like a pretty daunting task, but Terry's got it down to a science, and he's going to show us how to go about it right now. Terry, what's one of the first things to know about trailering a rig of this size and how to launch it on your own?
Well, the first thing is you want to make sure that your rig's set up properly. You want to make sure that your trailer's all set up, and that's something we can talk about on another segment. This trailer's been set up. We've tested it a bunch of different ramps. It works really well with the boat and the type of ramps that we use. But first thing first, you want to make sure that you get your boat ready here in the staging lanes. You don't want to start getting the boat ready over there and block up the launch ramp. It makes it really difficult for other people to launch. You want to make sure everything is prepped ahead of time.
Great. Let's go through some of the things that you look for or you do before you even bring it up to the ramp.
Okay, well, one of the first things I do when I get to the marina, I put up my antenna. I've already gone through some of the startup work already today. So I put my antenna up. I walk up here to the front on this particular boat. I open up my console, and I have 3 battery switches. I turn on all 3 battery switches to make sure I have power, and then I have my key switches located down below so that they're out of the weather. I turn on my key switches. Now that doesn't start my motors, but that gives them power. All I have to do when I put it in the water is push the button and the motors fire off. Okay, now that we've got the boat and all the systems prepped, we're still in the staging lanes. We've moved forward a little bit with the organization of the ramp. What you want to make sure now is that you load everything into the boat that you want to get into the boat. Your coolers, your raincoats, your fishing gear, and so forth. You don't want to be tied off to the holding dock and have to carry all the stuff down. The longer you're at the tie-up dock, the more difficult it makes it for everybody else. So now's the time when you want to get everything loaded into the boat so that once you put it in the water, you're ready to go and you can get out of here and not tie up a lot of space. Now, as I touched on before, I have this trailer set up specifically for a big boat like this. It's a bunk style trailer. I'm not a big fan of roller trailers for a bunch of reasons. First and foremost is, when I'm trailering alone, I need this boat to be able to stay put on the trailer even when it's unhooked. Now that may sound unconventional, and it is. And it's never to be done on a roller trailer. You'll roll your boat right off at the bottom of the ramp onto the pavement, and that's never a good thing. Okay, now again, I have a bunk style trailer, and my boat will stay put even when I'm backing it down the ramp unhooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook my safety chain and I'm going to unhook my winch strap. Now again, this is never to be done with a roller style trailer. That's why I prefer the bunk. I've tested this boat and trailer setup out at the ramps that I use commonly. Anytime we go to a new ramp that we're going to be using frequently, we always put the winch strap on and leave it a little bit loose. That way we can make sure that the boat doesn't move, but if it does, we're protected. Now this dock line is really the key, one of the keys, to how I do this effectively. This dock line, we've measured it out, and this is the length that happens to work for our boat. It's about 10 feet long. I've got a loop on each end. What I do is I take one of the loops and I put them right over the trailer stanchion, like so. I make sure that the line is on the back side of the winch handle. You don't want it catching on that. Then I simply climb up here and I loop the line through my bow cleat. And make sure that it's secure. As you can see, we've got some slack in the system, and this is exactly what we want. This is going to hold the boat when I back it into the water and I let it slide off the trailer, as you'll see in a moment. Okay, now one other very important feature that I've set up on this trailer that makes my job so much easier is these uprights. Again, we'll get into how to set them up later on, but you notice that these uprights are really snug against the side of my boat. There's no gap. As a matter of fact, they're actually preloaded and tensioned. They're very strong. These are going to keep my boat in line when it slides back off the trailer so that I'm not drifting out over the fenders or I'm not bumping into the dock or somebody else's boat.
Once Terry has the boat prepped for launching, he pulls out of the staging area and up to the ramp.
Okay, now we're here in the cab of my F-350. This is the truck that I pull the big boat with. We're going to set up, we're all ready to go, we're next in line at the ramp. So now we're going to pull over into the from the staging lane into the launch lane. Now I don't have to spend a whole lot of time here because we've done all our prep work ahead of time at the staging section. So now we've got a clear shot behind us. We're going to put the boat in the water. Okay, now we're backing the boat up here, and as we back down the ramp, you'll note that the boat's not going to move. Again, I've set the trailer up this way. If you had a roller trailer, right about now is the time your boat's going to slide off onto the ramp and cause you an awful lot of headaches. But with the bunk trailer, the boat doesn't move. Now I've put the truck in park and I've set my emergency brake down so that we don't roll the truck back. Now as you saw, as the boat started to float, I just tapped the brake just enough to break the friction on the bunk trailer and the boat slid off. I've got a nice heavy dock line that let the boat slide back and then actually retracted it when the nylon recovered. The boat's not sliding from side to side because my uprights are holding it there. And even though we've got a little bit of a breeze today, probably 10 or 12 knots, the boat's staying put right where I want it to be. Now, depending on what you have for a docking facility, here at Bourne we've got a really nice floating dock. I pulled the trailer close enough so that I can walk down the dock and simply step over the gunnel onto my boat. If you don't have a really good docking facility like this, you have to take a little bit of a balance walk down the trailer. So what I simply do on my I-beam trailer is climb up here, and I use my rope, my dock line, as balance, and I simply would walk down and just scoot right over the bow of the boat. Now I have the boat right here next to the dock, and it's just an easy hop right onto the boat. I hit the two buttons, and the Verados start right up for me. Now I'm going to go up, and I'm going to recover my dock line that's keeping the boat attached. Okay, now we're off the trailer and we're on the dock. Here at Bourne, they have tie-up lines already set up, so you don't have to set up your own tie line. Something I see an awful lot of people do is they're going to be tied up here for just a couple of minutes while they park their truck. And they set up a bow line and a spring line and they set up a stern line. It takes a lot of time and it really ties the dock up. What you really only need, if your boat's equipped, is a mid-cleat. With a mid-cleat, I pull my boat up tight. Where there are a cleat here, I'd simply tie off right here at a mid-cleat. And it doesn't allow the boat to go anywhere. You notice there's no slack in this line. I'm not leaving this here for a long time, so tide's not going to affect me going up and down. But by tying at the midline very tightly to the dock, the back end stays put, because if it tried to push out, the bow would stop it. And if the bow tries to push out, the stern pressing against the dock would stop it. That way, I have one line, and when it comes time to leave, I simply unhook my one line, step onto the boat, and drive away. No need to have a bunch of lines tied up on the boat. You're not going to be here for a long time. Now, some of you may have noticed that I don't have fenders on the boat. Again, I know this facility. They've got really nice rub strips along here, made of rubber and made out of fire hose. It won't scuff up my boat, and again, I'm not going to be here for a long time, so I don't expect the boat to be banging off the side of the dock. If you did have fenders, or you had a marina that wasn't equipped with the nice rub strips that Bourne has, when you're in the staging lanes, that's the time to get your fenders out and have them set up so that when you do pull up to the dock, they're ready to go. And always make sure that you have your fenders on the side where you're going to be docking the boat. Okay, so now I've got the contender tied up. Now I just have to get the rig out of the water, get it parked, and we can go fishing.
Well, Terry, you certainly have this launching thing down to an art, if not a science. How fast can you get your rig in the water?
Well, if I do all my prep work ahead of time in the staging lanes, which that takes me a couple of minutes depending on how much gear I have to load onto the boat, Once I get into the launch lane, I can have this boat in the water, the truck parked, and back on the boat ready to go fishing in about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes.
Wow, and the faster you can get in the water, the faster you can get to the fish, right?
And that's what we need to do right now. Let's go fishing.
You got it.